Well, some updates. I have got no reply from the court about the nullification. I went on my first hunger strike day and sung. I felt really silly, but I still did it. Silly in singing, I mean, not in the hunger strike, of course. But it was good to sing. And they came out when I sang Sole Mio, 3 guards, and took videos. that was funny, and I was looking at them and smiling when I did Sole Mio. And then there were several people in the park listening to the music. That was nice. Yeah, music is really magical. You forget all your worries, even in the middle of the storm. And some very bad news. I got a reply from the bar of lawyers saying something terrible, really terrible. I'm gonna read it because it was just too... No, I'm not gonna read it because I cannot find it. But it said, oh, maybe it's there. Heck. No idea. Well, my goodness. Yeah, well, it's very, very long. But basically it says that she did nothing wrong, the lawyer. Nothing wrong. No, it wasn't even too cruel. No. I was just so shocked and disgusted. Oh, and he said, it must have had a very big impact on your life. Holy fucking shit. Are you joking? I mean, yeah, I was just really horrified, and I haven't been able to make videos because of that today, apart from the fact that I was very busy. But it's just beyond shocking, really. And I'm just gonna read my reply. He was also telling me that I should not write again to the lawyer directly, but use my lawyer. I don't have one. I said, dear sirs, I don't have a lawyer. Mr. ... is no longer my lawyer, so I could only address the lawyer ... myself. Her summons are based on 2 crimes, both of which I am able to document entirely, particularly the theft of my parcel with forging of my signature and opening of its contents discussed in the summons, in severe violation of my privacy, which constitutes a prosecutable criminal offense, classifiable as stalking, not only as theft and criminalistic harassment, because that is really defamation. I mean, that is criminal slander, because you are slandering someone with the authorities and you are trying to get them imprisoned. And that's a fake aangifte. It's really, language hard to pronounce. Yeah, it's fake because obviously he was saying that he found it, but he didn't. He signed for it, so he broke the law to get it. And why did he do that? Why did he break the law and sign for something in my name and kept it for 4 days? Now there is the report. They did the report, but again the police made me sign something, and I could not and I said, but I don't she made me sign on her iPad, and I said, but I don't know what I'm signing, and she said, then you see it, you translate it later. Okay, thank you very much. And the problem is, I cannot say no when I'm scared. It's just something about me. So, like, if you want to have consent from me and a lot of other people, I think you should not be scaring someone. Because no matter how strong I might appear on the outside, people, you don't know how they are. And it is like, for instance, the police came and said, can we go into your room? And I couldn't stop them. Because there is, when you are living with such high level of fears for so long, and you're not even able to discuss it with anyone because that's just stalking. You can't talk about it, because if you talk about it, people go really weird and they don't want to talk to you ever again. And if they invited you, they cancel. And it's just, if they gave you a job, they won't give you a job anymore. And if they gave you a home, they won't give you a home anymore. If they gave you a friendship, they won't give you a friendship anymore. It's just how it is. I mean, people are very surprised when I say this, but it's just the truth. It's just what it is. I am very surprised. I never thought it was possible, because I'm not one of these people. But that's the great majority of people. People say, I want a quiet life. It means you don't want a quiet life if you are the object of obsession of someone that doesn't have peace in themselves. Obviously, because otherwise they wouldn't sign something in your name and keep it 4 days and think very hard, what can I do with it, what can I do with it, before they launch the. And in my opinion, because I have evidence that I was stalked, I mean, on like Signal, Telegram, Gmail and WhatsApp from 2 phones, one of which I identify here. And now finally there is a company that does reports, but they say they don't do retrospective reports. But what does it mean? But they do some reports. Anyway, so I'm going to read in the letter. Otherwise we get lost into many blah, blah, blah. I am truly surprised by your response, and am certain my failure lies in the absence of legal defense to best illustrate how unlawful and criminal the fake aangifte based on, that's what I was saying, like, another parenthesis, you got to be patient, because this is like the key point here. Like, my question, and it's a fact-based question, is how can the landlord ignore that the guy made a fake signature to get this parcel and kept it 4 days, because in the summons they wrote on the 30th and it is on the 26th. And on the 27th, I asked them, have you seen them? Because I thought that it just, it was also 2 o'clock, so I thought it just happened. Didn't realize that it was the 27th, not the 26th. But anyway, I called UPS and said, he said, just go and ask the neighbors, he said. And I said, well, I'm not supposed to talk to the neighbors and etc. But I went and asked in the garden, and the landlord was there, and I asked, did you see UPS? Did someone take the parcel? I mean, I didn't want to didn't even say, did someone take the parcel, because it was a sign for. So I said, did someone see UPS? I mean, it says delivered, but it was a sign for, and I didn't sign anything, and I haven't seen UPS. And she said, no, we were here, nobody saw anything, and he didn't say anything to her, didn't say anything after. And then this thing was opened and discussed in the summons, and I'm just wondering, how is it possible that the lawyer doesn't know a lawyer? That well, first of all, it's an impossibility that a big parcel that weighs 1.5 kilos or so would, I mean, it was like this big, like 80 centimeters at least, or a meter. I mean, it was a big parcel because there was a lot of emballage autour, and then you don't think that, that it's impossible that you would deliver such a parcel. This is a signed for parcel. It's one of those parcels that can only be delivered by signature. So it's just, and you don't know that he's not supposed to know about the contents, because she was saying that from the sender he was guessing the contents, and then all of a sudden he was sure of the contents, and it's like, oh come on, who are you pulling the leg of? Because you can discuss with Sir, and then she was saying the landlord was very surprised about the contents, and shocked. Like, this is like my private correspondence, that it's been discussed in a summon, and the judge as well is reading it. I mean, are they all gone crazy, insane, totally? Like, I mean, I knew that courts were unfair and criminal and all that, but I didn't know that you can just base someone completely on a crime against the defendant, presumed. And that is shocking. And so I went on, and I said, I'm truly surprised by your response, and I'm certain my failure lies in the absence of legal defense to best illustrate how lawful and criminal the fake aangifte based on the theft plus opening of private correspondence. Oh, and forged signature, didn't write that. And abuse of police force, which caused me a miscarriage and would have caused me a criminal trial if my father was not a jurist. That is true, because if my father wasn't someone that works with lawyers and has a ONG of lawyers, that wrote me that strong statement to say that this confiscation from the police was absolutely no. Like how lawyers write. I wish I was a lawyer, but I would be a rubbish one, I'm sure, because I speak too much. And so I point to that for a lie and theft on which the lawyer made the summons was played my maternity. On the blood of my miscarriage acted the unforgivable and demonstrably false slander of those illegal and disgraceful summons, offensive to all women and men alike who have survived extreme crimes of hate or assaults, further to the abuse of police force which led to my miscarriage. I mean, the police didn't do any force, nothing. I'm not saying that but it's just that they came and they asked me to. They also listened to me, and Yeah, like we were looking into each other's eyes, and it wasn't, it was just that it was really invasive and shocking and scary, like, because I never got criminal allegations and the police to ask me to go through my private belongings. And then they didn't actually, they just looked a bit around, but um, they didn't. I think they believed me, but yeah, it was just the absolute shock and scare that can give you like a very strong meltdown, and people cannot measure it from the outside because it's not necessarily loud. Like when you reach certain levels of terrors, maybe it's not even loud. It should be better if it were loud, because at a point you don't even hear it anymore, the meltdown, but it's still happening. Like when I was in the court, and like just after this, I had to go to this court, and I wasn't happy about it because, in fact, the Equality Act 2010 says that people with such neurological so-called disorders, I wouldn't call it a disorder, I would call it a different order, but disorder etymologically also can mean that, different order. So yeah, maybe a disorder in the sense of different, but really, like, the brain cannot function under fear, and I don't know if people can realize that and protect that. The law should protect that. I should not have to pay a lawyer under that level of distress. I went in right away after the meltdown. Why don't they delete the signature? And when you speak about this to people, people are all embarrassed, like, to just even say the word autism. It's like to say lesbian. So autistic lesbian sounds really, really bad. God. Well, went on. And yeah, you cannot talk about these things. And then on the internet, it seems, it's all understandable and it's stigma free now in the Netherlands. My freaking ass. Stigma free autism. So, and it can be so easily psychiatrized. That's so horrifying that even, the mothers of people with autism do that. But I met the worst mothers of autistic in my life. Like, I met one that her son was in an institution, and she thought that when I told her that I also had autism, but I functioning like Einstein, because I just want to remind everybody that Einstein was autistic. Everybody that despises autism but admires Einstein. Just a thought. And yeah, like, people with autism shouldn't even be in the court, shouldn't even be left to go alone in the court. Not, I don't mean just with the lawyer, because the lawyer, if it's not a specialized one, they will not know how it affects your consent. For instance, like, you should always have someone that comes with you, like, that functions as a mediator for you. And if you cannot pay one, social services should give you one, because it's a legal right. It's a legal and human and civil right to go supported, so that you don't act out of fear, so that you are told what the options are, so that it's an informed choice. That's not what happened. So I feel that the other lawyer, because I'm never going to go and blame my lawyer, of course. That's just not what you do, even with autism. But I mean, the other lawyer shouldn't have threatened my lawyer in the first place and misrepresented my rights to him to that extent that he, not having studied my case, was already, been told that he should be critical about his clients. My God. My God. And that's just not the kind of things that lawyers should say to each other. That's not ethical, that's not respectful, and that's you are slandering the client of that lawyer. They work for the same association, and my father was, well, just be really careful because they will agree something, and there was that. And it was, yeah, they will agree something. That's how it works. And I mean, he fights the judicial mafia in Italy. So that's what he's been doing for 20 years. Maybe more, I don't know, because I never wanted to follow this stuff. I always thought that it's best to be far from courts as possible. But there are times that it can be really your chance to put an end to stalking. It's really hard to get help from the police about stalking, and that's not just in the Netherlands, that's everywhere. Especially if you are alone. I won't repeat it enough. The police and social services do not help women that are on their own. There is a reason for that. There is no money. So when women are on their own, women get sacrificed. I mean, in Italy, that's the normality in terms of feminicide is so it's a highest crime rate in Italy. It's the highest in Europe, and so I cannot say if it's the same everywhere, but I have had a lot of female survivor friends when I was young in Italy. And yeah, if they're alone, they got all sacrificed. Even with TSO, that it's like, it means compulsory sanitary treatment, which already the sound of it sounds like in the Golden Compass when they cut the pet familiar of the person. I don't know if you ever saw the Golden Compass, but it's a bit like that. And they still use electroshock. In Italy, in some places, there has been a book about it that was made from a social center in Bologna of anarchics, and it's called Electroshock, and talks about the last electroshocks cases in Italy, and a guy that was killed after being arrested for skinny dipping in the sea, and just terrible stories of it, but the most common horrifying truth is this, that women that are survivors and do not have a family behind that can deal with it. And I have a father that is a jurist, but I do not have a family behind that can deal with it. And what happens is that you get ghostified. That's my invention, this word. You get ghostified, and it's just an extremely common phenomena. I mean, if you think that until not so long ago, and still nowadays in some Middle Eastern and Eastern countries, people, I mean, women get killed, sometimes even by the family after they get raped, just for a question of honor. I mean, but in the olden day, like in Celtic or Viking society, for a question of honor, rather, it would be that it was the rapist or the assassin that would be revenged on. They would do like a duel, or they would do like a regulated beat up, basically, instead of an unregulated one, an honorable duel. And you would have to pick the weapon, like, and but in the older days, before the duel, I mean, when there were still the Viking and the Celts, that's what I was talking about. It wasn't someone else that would do the duel for you. It would be you as the victim itself, okay, the unconsensual victim that says, my freaking ass, I'm not going to be a victim anymore. I'm going to get to my killer, to my rapist, to my stalker, and I'm going to get at him. And maybe the movie about it, that is nice movie about the Vikings and when they were becoming Christians. I'm going to read them the end of my letter without interrupting myself anymore. And but I just say this, and at the end she was and at the end she managed, because there was all these it's just a very interesting movie that I think everyone should watch. Then I promise I won't make any more interruptions, but it's very important, this one, because it talks about the difference between the Vikings and the Christians. And the Christians, when she showed her mark on the back of what this this bastard did to her when he raped her, they say, well, anybody of your lovers could have done that to you, the Christians say. And like, what? A lover could do that to you? I mean, they were already crazy from the beginning, the Christians. Bloody hell. Because it's not a very Christian thing either to think of torture. Like, any lover could do that, and it's just, well, it's just what the movie said. But it was very interesting because it showed how the Christians were devaluing the woman. She didn't have worth. Her voice didn't have any worth. Reminds me of something here for a year. And, when you are a victim of bullyism when you're young, maybe in school and high school and even university, and you're not believed, it's really hard, especially like when you're an adult, actually, because when you're a child and you're not believed, you manage somehow to find strategies. But when you're adult, it really infiltrates your sense of dignity, of integrity, of identity, even, because I'm like, what is the difference between me and the adults? Why? And that is the power of stalkers and husbands, and who are rapists or killers or murderers, or stalkers, or all of these things together, because usually stalkers that work together with others in groups, because they do it as sport.
they even if they don't do maybe they don't murder directly, they would still lie about you and to the police and to other people and to your landlord and to your professional contacts and to the court and to anybody, so that you get imprisoned even though you're innocent, so that you get distressed and you get miscarriage, so that you are not in the way, and I am saying this because I have a history with this person that is longer than the history, my history here in the Netherlands, or even with the landlord, renting and stuff. It's much older, this history of stalking and the pattern that has gone on and on and on. And they know how to trigger distress and meltdowns that are neurological, but they are a neurological disorder. But when you are screaming and crying and people don't know you, and they can trigger it in a way that it happens again and again, like if they put 8 mice and they remove my Ezapet from the room, it's obvious that I was having meltdown every day. It was the most horrific experience of my life. I have never been through so much abuse here. And the house domestic expert policeman was asking me, what is abuse to you? And from that question, I already have lost trust in him, because that question was a critical question, but everything seems criminal at the moment, because everything that makes it so hard for you to come out to the police with a stalking story, it's excruciating torture and does feel like a criminal torture, because you shouldn't have it such a hard time. You shouldn't ask me what is abuse to you, in my opinion, because you already make me feel dismissed as the teller of that story of abuse. So what happened, rather than what is abuse to you, because we are not discussing feelings. We are discussing stalking, that is a coercion. It's an imposed coercion and limitation of privacy and freedom. Like the fact that this parcel was stolen and opened, but first of all it was intercepted, like the parcel of the phone before and the phone before that. And I'm like, how can they actually ignore? That is a fact-based question. How can you ignore the vandalism in September to the car, the thefts in September that were witnessed by other people that have texted you and talked to you, and where they are we did a long drive to come and get him and take him here to talk about it, and then they didn't want to talk about it because it was uncomfortable. But I was there trying to get them to talk, because I don't have enough voice by myself, and that's ridiculous. That was offensive. That was deeply offensive. It felt like in these olden days when, like you are going to get married and you are going to have to bring your boy there to get and talk to, I don't know, your parents, to be sure that you can go out. It felt just immensely offensive. And when one of my witness called her or texted her, not believe I'm gonna even erase your statements with the police. I've never seen this, so it's just utterly shocking. And then I'm reading these answers, and my God, no, this cannot be. So yeah, that are
On the blood of my miscarriage acted the unforgivable and demonstrably false slander of those illegal and disgraceful summons offensive to all women and men alike who have survived extreme crimes of hate or assaults. Like, because all over they were trying to say that I was crazy and that I have paranoia. I think any survivors of stalking has paranoia. It's normal. So don't worry if you have paranoia, because if you didn't have paranoia, that would be you have a disorder. If you have paranoia, it means that, yes, maybe you have a temporary paranoia disorder because of stalking and PSTT, that's normal, but it means that your alarm system works normally. If you didn't have paranoia and fear, it means that you're not all well. I mean, in a way, like that you are so frozen. And because when I go out of fear, it's also because my fear is exhausted at the point to be afraid. Don't know if it makes sense. So, further to the abuse of the police force which led to my miscarriage, I was threatened with more police would be sent. Here it's a bit because I'm dyslexic also, and sometimes I didn't have my glasses, that more police would be sent when I was having autistic meltdown. Your lawyer behavior was unlawful, immoral, and unforgivable, and I am doing a hunger strike to protest against the legalized assassination of my baby, precisely by your lawyer. I will fight. Oh, I am also very angry because the one before this was also a trespass of this guy from the pizzeria. The ex-owner of the pizzeria that was holding this sewer, this thing to cut, and he had cut my fence in the garden, and I was pregnant, and also half naked in my bedroom, and this guy just enters like this, screaming, based on again slander that was coming because I was not going out. I had such limited ability to move that the social services had to come and put me in the car because I couldn't drive. I couldn't even walk at the beginning. I had such pain in my sciatica. I mean, yeah, like I didn't go out at all, and this slander was going on, and it's just like, how many times can a woman be evicted or a person be evicted because some idiotic people are, and I mean criminal people, not just idiotic, are sending messages to slander you, which is what people actually do when they want to stalk someone. That is one of the things that I'm not saying that they do it for everybody the same, but spoofing and both messages that can come that they look like they come from your phone. It's called spoofing. You can use like third apps and the like, or you can jailbreak that phone. Or there are other methods that you don't spoof them, but maybe you send videos of them around that are private because you got them from the phone, or photographs or whatever, like you threaten them implicitly or explicitly. Please allow me for free legal support. Oh, no, I stop interrupting myself. I'm gonna read it all. I said, your lawyer behavior was unlawful, immoral, and unforgivable, and I am doing hunger strike to protest against the legalized assassination of my baby, granted precisely by your lawyer. I will fight all my life if it came to that, to see ...
Miss Dot Dot, radiated from the Order of Lawyers, and Mr. De Kaiser, or De Kaiser, I don't know how it's pronounced, in jail. The only forgivable person, and in light of the facts highlighted by those entirely delirious summons, was the landlord himself, who got understandably terrorized by his acts made on my behalf, as I am able to prove, and will, no matter how long it will take. I do not have time at heart, but truth. Please allow me for a free legal support so I may file my complaint correctly. I contacted the lawyer directly because I hoped that she would recognize her errors and apologize before I have to do a hunger strike to recover a voice after what she allowed a criminal to do to me, and a client who becomes a criminal too by supporting such unethical and absolutely unlawful behavior. Lawyers cannot base summons on crimes on actual criminal offenses against the presumed defendant. Lawyers must assess the evidence. It is clear that UPS is not allowed to leave weapons outside. Every lawyer knows it, even kids know it. The police took the criminal aangifte today for forged signature and withholding of the parcel 4 days. Furthermore, on the 27th, when I asked about it, it was in the garden. He was in the garden with the landlord, and he did not say that he had not signed that he had signed for it. The throw means temporary restraining order that my lawyer sent was civil and valid, even with just one eyewitness. Any European can get a throw from their family lawyer in their home country and transfer it to the Netherlands or anywhere in Europe, for instance in Sweden, within a month. What the police got, that stuff in the summon was private content. I don't know what I wrote, it doesn't make sense. Sometimes I mistype, and then what the police got, no idea what I want to say, but anyway, that stuff in the summon was private content of my emails to ... A friend who helped me do the chronology of stalking acts from Miss De Kaiser and Miss Will, with some additions. It was not the truth that my that my father's lawyer sent to the landlord from Milano, but again, the proof only of stalking against me. This is not the first time that I get in trouble because some fake official documents get sent somewhere to the police or even the government when I'm doing maybe a passport application and that kind of thing. You know, I could have gotten so much in trouble because of it, because I remember once at the passport office they called me and say, hey, we got two applications, which one is the right one? So I had to do it all over again. And then they put the number in the wrong one. They put the number of my doctor's in Tintagel, but that doctor had already told me no, that she will not do it. So I had to do the application actually from Italy, because it was the only way to get a doctor that would do it, because in England they don't do it for these things, for the passports. They don't. So it's just an example of how strong harassment can be against one person, and it's very hard for people around you to believe you. And all they want to believe is that you're just hateful yourself, that nobody can ever like you and that you deserve it, because pretty much is what I've been hearing for almost a year from the landlord. It's just the most violent thing, because at the beginning it was she was making me talk and asking me a lot of questions, but then it was just to continuously judge and say, oh, why is it happening to you? And it's just the most wrong, unethical question that you can ask a survivor, because stalking can happen to anyone, and it doesn't define the victims. It's something to remove people from your mind. Please do as soon as possible. Like, go to the loo and puke it out, because it's disgusting stuff. That you are not allowed to judge survivors. You're not allowed to judge refugees of war. You can judge ex-soldiers because they're assholes who went to war by their choice. Unless, of course, it was what those people, unless it's soldier of those people that are bombed by their governments. But I am against wars, absolutely against wars, and I don't know how someone that is shocked about an air compressed gun of someone that is doing illegal training is not shocked about being friends with the next soldier. I'm not saying that you cannot be friends with the next soldier, hey, but the disproportion was just so shocking, because she sent me to that center to do the training herself, and all of a sudden I was this criminal, that had to lose her home because she wants to be a bodyguard. And I just like, what? I am, it's just like so unbelievable, because as a survival of violence, you just think, okay, I want to be empowered, and that doesn't mean that I attack, but to self-defense without having to use my body. Like, you have the right to self-defense, and to want to do a job that can help other women. But all of a sudden, the ex-soldier is the poor guy, and the ex-soldier is not a poor guy. It's someone that chooses to learn how to kill, trained for it with the army, and that all that nepotism that happens in the army, and all that shit that happens in the army. They went with it, and then they went to the war and they got PSTT, as they gave PSTT to others. Well, I'm glad that you did. So maybe you learned that the wars are wrong, that we are out of the Second War since like 1945. So any Western country person, male, should not be in any war. And if you are, you're probably not a very good person yourself. Soldier at war in Lebanon. It's not like he's 116, this guy. He's the age of my mom, more or less. But unbelievable. I'm just out of shock, so I have to comment. I'm sorry. So, yeah.
they got a fake throw, so they thought that the throw wasn't real, the police. But my lawyer didn't send the throw to the police, sent the throw to the landlord and to the creep. And so he says, here I made a mistake. He says, well, I says that is this lawyer that it's signed on that throw, the fake one, is 40 and I was not allowed to send it. But not because she's 40, but sometimes I forget to complete the sentences. And the sentence looks really stupid now. Well, cannot be worse than what it went. And she's 40, so she didn't have the time, because it takes such a long time to become a lawyer in Italy. And so by the time of 40, you haven't got those 5 years of work that you need in order to work internationally. That's what I was trying to say, very clumsily. And that was a crime against me, which caused the police not to take my report. I was victim before of similar crime that prevented me from communication with UK police when I live in Somerset for the same very interferences. Fantini did a real throw, that's my father's lawyer, request, and so it is incredible that the Kaiser signed and stole the parcel. You know, like, it's not my mommy that is gonna take, or my partner that is gonna take my parcel, even though, you know, at Christmas with all those doors open and all these clothes in the kitchens, as I was baking after he had bruised my face and caused me head injury, it really seemed like that I was with an abusive partner in the house. But it wasn't mine, and it wasn't even that of the landlady. It was that of the person who stole my cat. And everybody says that, I mean, everybody, she says she doesn't believe that. For whatever reason, he's denied it. And I'm like, what kind of a man is with a woman and then denies it? You're not even like in the sincerity with that woman to just claim it after. I mean, even if it was just one time, which it wasn't just one time, why wouldn't you stand for it? Why wouldn't you I don't know. I would never deny being with someone, ever. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. Or I would never deny that I had been with that person unless I was really ashamed of that person. But never happened to me to be so ashamed that, because, yeah, that's, if you don't want to be with someone, then don't be with someone, but don't deny it after. Fantini did the real throw and request, so it's impossible that it's just incredible. Yeah, they took the parcel, aware of the threats he was doing against me, but also I learned well too late on my behalf. He could manage to harass me with the fake aangifte and abuse the abuse of police force to cause the imprisonment of an innocent and pregnant person. And you say that your lawyer allowing that is not a criminal. If that were true, I would not want to live in this world, sir, nor our children. Regards. Well, I'm going to make a video that is just of the response.